Hello, everybody. It's Tim here again. Another review. This time for FUBAR Season 1, the new Schwarzenegger show. Now, just to jump into this, I'm a huge Arnold fan. I even liked Terminator Genesis because I liked it as an Arnold film. That franchise is never going to live up to T2. It's not. But um, for like an Arnold Terminator film, just looking at it from that perspective, an action Arnold flick, I liked it. Didn't love it, but I liked it. Terminator Dark Fate I actually did legitimately like, because once again that series is never going to live up to T2. So for another Terminator movie, I liked it. It wasn't fantastic, but I liked it. So I'm an Arnold fan. I don't like everything he's ever done. I didn't like Hercules in New York. Obviously, that's probably his worst film. Batman and Robin I hate because I'm a comic book fan. Um, so I like 99% of his movies. I enjoy End of Days. I like The Sixth Day. Last Stand I really liked. Hell, even Sabotage, which is like a really messy film, that I can have like a passable time with. This was not very good. It's not the worst thing Arnold's ever done. Like this doesn't come close to like Hercules in New York or whatever, or Batman and Robin or anything like that. It's not that bad. Overall, it's just okay. I'd give it a low 2 stars, or just a standard like 2 stars. Okay, one-off watch. If it wasn't for Arnold, I probably would not bother watching season 2 of this when it comes out. I'm glad this did very well in the ratings. I'm glad that Arnold has another win here, and he's going to be able to do this series for probably the rest of his career. And if he makes more movies, I'll check them out too, because I'm an Arnold fan. But I'm glad that this is a win for Arnold. I'm glad it did really well. And I'm glad he's going to get to continue doing more seasons of it, because it's already been greenlit for season 2. But as far as quality goes, this ain't very good. It's not like the worst thing ever or nothing, but it ain't that good. It's okay. It's okay one-off watch. And like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that Arnold is in season 2, or he's the star of this series, I would not bother watching season 2. Another reason I'm going to bother watching season 2, or I am going to bother watching it, is because sometimes shows pick up in like second seasons. There are a lot of shows that the first seasons really aren't that good, but after everything gets established and is moving and all that, a lot of times when it gets to season 2, things do pick up. So I'm going to give it a chance just because of that. But if season 2 is not better than this, I probably won't bother with this show again, even though it does have Arnold in it, who I love. Assuming it gets more than 2 seasons. But if it does, if season 2 is like the same quality as this, or less, then I'm not coming back for season 3. And if I did, I would probably just fast forward to the Arnold action scenes. Go ahead and start off with the biggest problem with this is that this was being like publicized or whatever to be like a True Lies inspired show and all that. Even Arnold was talking about how it's like takes if you want to see my fans want to see me do something else like True Lies, this is really it. It's really not. This is not very much like True Lies at all. It's somewhat like True Lies, but not a lot at all. It's just in the similar setup, except with the wife not knowing that he's a secret agent. In this, it's him and his daughter who find out they're both secret agents, and the wife doesn't know, or the ex-wife in this, because she's an ex-wife. Her and Arnold's divorced, and they're just having to go off on adventures together and team up. But in terms of the tone, this feels nothing like True Lies at all. The comedy here is very goofy, very goofy. It's like almost like at times feels like a Saturday Night Live episode, or like a Saturday Night Live parody of a spy show. And that's another thing. This show is very generic. It's like 8 episodes altogether. They felt long, and the story here is not that interesting. Some of the Arnold does a good job in it. In terms of acting, he does a good job. The writing lets the man down. It does. I can see why he signed up for this project. It's probably like, oh, I get to do another spy show or whatever. With find out my daughter is actually a spy as well, and we have to bond together for the first time. Like, that's a good premise. That sounds good. But the problem is everything here is just played up for like over the top goofy comedy for the most part, except when the villain's around, and then it gets more serious. But when the villain's around is not much. Gabriel Luna plays the villain here, and he actually does like a great to good job in terms of acting. He's probably the best performance in the damn show, but he's barely here. And the whole setup for his character is that Arnold was undercover, secret agent. He killed the guy's dad when he was a little kid, and then he felt bad about it because he was bonding with the kid at the time. And then he takes the kid, Gabriel Luna, and like raises him somewhat, and so he has like a special relationship with him. But then at the very first episode, towards the end, Gabriel Luna finds out, that he did kill his father. He actually killed his father, and Arnold did, and that him and Arnold's daughter are spies or whatever. And then he goes on a crazy spree to try to kill him because he wants to get like a nuclear weapon or whatever. But you think if Arnold like felt guilty about it and was trying to help this kid and all that, you think he would try to persuade him away from a life similar to his father, but it doesn't really seem like he did much for the kid. But at the same time, though, that's a very interesting setup, and that is more interesting drama-wise, and Arnold has more stronger chemistry with Gabriel Luna in the show than he does the chick playing his daughter. Not that the chick playing his daughter is bad. She's good. She's completely fine in this. She does a good job. All the acting is good. Nobody's really bad here in terms of their performances for what they're supposed to do, but the writing is pretty bad here. Especially for like Travis Van Winkle's character who played the asshole in the Friday 13th remake, who's like, your tits are stupendous. Him and this like fat chick who's like the comedy relief. I think in real life she's like a stand-up comedian or something. They're so annoying because they just keep like in the briefing room when it's supposed to be like a very serious conversation from like their boss, the person in charge or whatever. She's like talking and everything and telling about how serious everything's going to be, and they're just like making stupid jokes, and then they'll just like grab each other's hands and go fist bump or like that. It's fucking annoying. It's like completely takes you out of it because the comedy is just done constantly, and the fat chick just walks around hitting people in the nuts randomly. She hits Arnold in the nuts, hits Travis Van Winkle in the nuts at one point. It's like, what the fuck? It's just really stupid. See, in True Lies, they had comedic moments, but it was still a serious, fun spy mission. Here, the mission is like completely secondary, and it's mostly just focusing on the family drama. And in doing so, they throw in like constant comedy, and it's like really silly, stupid comedy from those two side characters. Probably the worst parts of the show, really. That and the fact that they start throwing in like really ridiculous, dumb. Hold on a minute here. I'm trying to adjust my phone. Sorry about that. But they throw in some really ridiculous, stupid melodrama. Like the daughter is going out with Jay Burchell or whatever, Jay Burchell, the actor, and he's playing Carter or whatever in the show. I think his character's name was, and he's like proposing to her and all that. And you get the idea that she wants, like, she keeps talking about she wants a stable life or whatever with him, and that's what she likes about it. But at the same time, she loves her jobs and loves her job and loves the excitement of it and everything. So you get the idea that maybe she's not 100% in love with Jay Burchell's character or whatever because of that. But at the same time, he's a really nice guy, and he tries to help her on numerous occasions. And there's multiple points in the show where he's like trying to comfort her and all that. And she's just being a pure straight up dick to him for no reason at all. So it just makes you think, well, you're a bitch. I mean, what? And you're supposed to get the idea that it's because, that she's, got problems because of like the relationship with her dad and all that. But she just kind of comes off like an asshole towards him. And then she starts cheating on him with Travis Van Winkle's character, who at first she starts scolding because she's like, well, you're kind of a dick. And then later on, she's like jumping on him, wanting to fuck his brains out. Like first she starts kissing him, and then later on she like basically jumps at him and starts making out with him. And then after that she's like, oh, I shouldn't do this. It's like, okay. Right there, you throw that in there and automatically makes you dislike the character because Jay Burchell's character or whatever, her man, that she may be having second thoughts about him, but he's an extremely good guy in this. There's nothing wrong with him, and having second thoughts is not the same thing as like fucking around with somebody's feelings and cheating on them behind their back. And of course, she's not in love with Travis Van Winkle's character or anything. She's known the dude for like a week in the show. So then she's just ready to bang his brains out. So it's just like, well, okay, she's just jumping in this other dude's pants who she's known for like just a few days. Even if she doesn't truly 100% love the man she's with, still that makes her look very scummy. Not very likable. And kind of the same thing with Arnold. Like Arnold's character, he's mostly likable here. He's a typical Arnold. But at the same time, him and his wife are divorced, and she's going out with some other dude, and he keeps wanting her back or whatever. And finally, he does manage to like confess to her how much he loves her and all that, and she sleeps with him and everything. And so she's cheating on her boyfriend, her new boyfriend. And then of course Arnold realizes he made a mistake after that because he knows he's just going to end up hurting his wife again. So he takes responsibility for it. That's what annoyed me about the daughter. Arnold takes responsibility for his mistakes here, for the most part. The daughter though, she just like Arnold tells her boyfriend or whatever, the Jay Burchell character, that she was like kissing Travis Van Winkle's character and all that, and she gets mad at him for breaking up her relationship, like blaming him for it. She's like, "Oh, I was kissing another guy," and Arnold's like, "Do you hear yourself?" And I like Arnold's like response here. He's like, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but Carter deserves better." And that was pretty damn funny in his Arnold accent. But of course, by the time you get to the end of the series, she does finally take responsibility for her actions and realize she effed up, and she does try to apologize to Jay Burchell's character, and he's like, "No, I'm leaving you. We're done." But I appreciated that. Good. But you do get the idea at the end of the show or whatever that they're probably going to work things out and get back together. You get to the end, and it's like Gabriel Luna's character or whatever. He's like stuck in this underground thing or whatever with Schwarzenegger's daughter, and they decide to put a truce together or make a truce so they can help each other escape. And the Schwarzenegger helps her up out of there, and so Gabriel Luna helped like save Schwarzenegger's daughter, helped her get out of there because he boosts her up to get her out of there. And then Schwarzenegger like refuses to help Gabriel Luna out of there because he knows that he attacked his daughter and tried to kill her before this sequence, where he helps her out. And so he's like, you tried to hurt my daughter or whatever, so I'm turning my back on you. And he locks him down in there, and the bomb goes off and like damages part of Gabriel Luna's face and all that, but he manages to survive. And you're supposed to get the idea here that because when Arnold looks down at Gabriel, he sees Gabriel Luna's character, and he still sees the little boy version of him that he helped raise and everything. So you're supposed to get the idea that he still has an attachment between him and all that, but he has to break it in order to be able to, stop Gabriel Luna's evil character or whatever. But you never really feel that because at the same time, you never really feel it because they don't focus on the bond with him enough. They don't even really have any flashbacks to when he was like taking care of him as a kid or anything. They don't focus on enough. Gabriel Luna's barely in this season. He's barely here. But when he is here, his performance is good, but he's just not in it enough. And you get to the end, he survives. He's like at the Schwarzenegger's wife is trying to marry this new dude, and he's at the Gabriel Luna's at the wedding. He's trying to kill the wife, or the ex-wife, or whatever. And Schwarzenegger, him and his daughter manage to team up and shoot him down. They take him out. Another thing about this is there's not a lot of action in it either. Most of it just focuses on like the melodrama, so that takes away like the Schwarzenegger feel of it. Where Schwarzenegger movies and stuff, they're loaded with over-the-top action and stuff, where it's just meant to be really fun. There's not a lot of that here. It really misses it, so it doesn't really feel like an Arnold product because of that. But the end of the season really, it feels like Arnold was just taken and just stuck into any random generic spy series. That's really what it feels like. But this does not feel like an Arnold show. It doesn't. But it sets up for what could be a more interesting season 2. Right at the end, we find out that all their identities were leaked or whatever, and all their past enemies and everything are going to come back after them and everything. So we get that. So they're like going on the run at the end with the rest of the family and everything, including Carter J. Burchell's character, whatever. And so that's pretty much where it ends. And Schwarzenegger's like driving, he looks at the camera and goes, "This is totally FUBAR." And so that's where it ends. That's where the season ends. So it's like, well, you have an opportunity here to do a better, more action-packed season 2 now that you got the setup out of the way with season 1. You have an opportunity to course correct this and do better. But as far as this goes, nah, this was not very good. It's okay. It's okay. I would never watch this again. If the rest of the seasons get better or whatever, or like if season 2 is a step up, then maybe like I'm saying, if the show gets a lot better and all that, I would probably eventually buy a box set or something of the show. Well, Netflix, I don't think they even release sets of their TV shows or streaming shows or whatever. But if they did and the show got better from season 2 on, I'd probably buy a set of it and maybe rewatch season 1 just to get to the better seasons, in a binge watch. But overall, this is a okay one-off watch. I would never watch this again, and it was a letdown and disappointment. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again.